So we're at the Hidden River Campground here in Tipton, Iowa. We actually made it, but before I start the video on this episode, I wanted to do a little introduction about it and talk about its content. So like on the last episode, at the end of it, we talked about having tire issues, and that's what this video is 100% about. Pretty funny that the first day on the road, I started talking about the TPMS and how it works and how it helps you monitor your tire pressure and whatnot. And the very next day we get a flat tire, or actually a leaking tire. So the TPMS did its job. I was able to pull over in time before all the air went out of the tire, as you'll see on the video. So one of the best tools that we invested on prior to starting our long trips was a TPMS, or a tire pressure monitoring system. So what we went with is this TST TPMS here. I do remember the price. It was a bit expensive. I think it was like $350 or something like that. There are some that were like 60 bucks, 100 bucks, but we definitely wanted to go with something that was reliable. One of the key things that I look at is every few minutes I just look at the cycle of the 4 tires on the trailer. And the way it works is each tire has a sensor, and the sensor is Bluetooth, obviously, tied to the TPMS monitor here, and it reads in real time the tire pressure and the temperature of each tire. I look at the temperature of the tires, make sure that that temperature is kind of constant, make sure that it doesn't bounce around, either shoot up or drop down, anything crazy like that. PSI is another thing I look at for the trailer. The recommended PSI is 80. So if it's anywhere between 78 and 82, I leave it as is. As soon as I notice a change in either the temperature or the PSI, I'm gonna pull over, do an inspection, see what's going on, and hopefully this saves me from a blowout or having to replace the tire in the middle of an interstate somewhere. So I just pulled over because one of my tires is losing air. It started off at 77 PSI this morning, and I went with it. But then I noticed that it went down to about 74 about 15 minutes ago, and within 5 minutes of getting off the interstate looking for a gas station to pull into and inspect the tire, it had dropped down to 70 and the alarm started going off. So I pulled into this Exxon. I verified that it's leaking from the air chuck. I'll show you in a bit here. There's a big parking lot up here about 100 yards away that I'm just going to drive to and replace that tire. Fun. TPMS works. Well, here you go, guys. Here's where that new tire is. Here's where I got to get the this wrench in. Got to catch it on there, and let's get it lowered. How lucky am I that I decided to buy this before this long trip. If you don't know what it is, this is a bottle jack, buddy. And instead of using this to balance on the axle, you're gonna use this so it can sit on the axle, and it's a safety issue. That way the axle doesn't fall off the jack while I'm doing this. Man, I decided to stop right in time. As you saw, it just started letting all the air out on its own, so great timing on my behalf. So let's get this done. For safety, I decided to put down some of the leveling blocks on the rear stabilizer, and also one of the rear jacks that I use for so the RV won't shake. I decided to put one in the back just in case anything happens. It's better to be safe than sorry. don't know if you can see my face or not, but you definitely should not go without a torque wrench living this life. It's already preset. I believe it's 125 psi if I'm not mistaken, but I already got it preset so it beeps as soon as it hits that rating. Here's another good investment. I got myself a battery operated air pump, Viair. Definitely, again, needed for this type of lifestyle. Yeah, this tire is sitting at 50 psi. So without this air pump, I would have been driving down the road with a low tire. Best thing about having your own tools is you don't have to stop at a gas station, which I was at before. Found this great spot. I don't have to call anybody, no roadside assistance, save a little money, save a little time. Get this done and get back on the road. Only money I'll be spending is, as soon as we get to our next destination, I'm gonna see if I could find a tire shop to get that tire repaired, because I can't be on the road without a spare tire, as you see. One thing I did check while I was checking the tire too, on the sidewall of it, it gives you a speed rating. So this tire is speed rated at 75 miles per hour, just like all the other tires. I wanted to ensure that I could maintain my speed without having to slow down with a spare tire, as you usually do on your vehicles. But regardless, I don't go past 60 when I'm towing anyway. So here you go, set at 80 psi. We're gonna connect the sensor back up, get that beeping to stop so it can register. And if it's all good, I'll stay here for about 10 minutes or as long as it takes me to clean up, so I can ensure that the tire holds air. Let's go see what the monitor says. Let's get it to that back wheel. 77 psi. We'll leave it as is. With the temperature today, it should rise in psi, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Hey, all right, now just got her set up. We arrived, or I arrived at Quail Ridge RV Park, I guess it's called. I always say I guess. Quail Ridge Campground. So I just arrived at Quail Ridge Campground here in Bethany, Missouri. I wanted to go over the tools that you need in order to change tires on these RVs. As you saw in the video, I changed this tire out. I had everything I needed, except I was missing one key important thing, and that's an actual jack stand. Yeah, I used those jack stands that I use for to maintain the RV from shaking, but those are only rated at 6,000 pounds each. So there was no way that I was gonna hold that RV with one of those jack stands, or even two. So I need to invest in getting myself a good jack stand, so that I'm not using the hydraulic jack to hold up the RV, because you're not supposed to do that, because the jack could fail at any second and the thing will come down at you. First thing I wanted to cover is the torque wrench. You definitely need a torque wrench when you're removing tires, so that the lug nuts, when you put them back on, they're tightened to the correct sequence. The correct foot pounds to tighten the lug nuts, just look in your owner's manual. I also have some extensions, because the pry bar hits the tire, so I gotta end up using this little one right here. You need a deep impact socket set, deep well, so that it can get in there. You don't want the little short stubby ones, because sometimes they're not gonna be able to catch and these are heavy duty, so they won't break as easily as the other ones. As I covered in the video, definite must right here. It's called a bottle jack buddy. Definitely this was money well invested. You definitely need a hydraulic jack. Got myself a 10-ton. This RV, I think dry weight is 95 pounds if I'm not mistaken, and the GVWR is, I think it's 12,000. I'll correct myself and put it on there. I'm well covered for that piece. Of course, these are the attachments that come to it. And lastly, you definitely want to have your own air pump. We purchased this Viair a couple years ago, and it's come in handy, because before trips I usually check my tires, like I told you on the video, And if I didn't have any air pump, I'd have to go pull over, waste time, get into a gas station, pay a quarter to use the air. Just a waste of time, just a pain in the butt. Get yourself your own air pump. It's not cheap. Top of my head, it was somewhere between $350 and $450, but a great investment. I would purchase it again if I had to. This is the air pump itself. It connects to your battery. Here's a positive, negative connection. Here's the air chuck. Here's the air valve. Tells you the pressure. It's got some other connections in there that I haven't used, kind of flexible, I guess. And it's got two of these long hoses. Both hoses allow me to get all the way to the back of the RV without any issues. So to be safe, lift it up with a jack, using a jack stand. Put the jack stand on the frame and then lower it. And while you're changing the tire, the RV will rest on that jack stand. And once you're ready to pull that jack stand out, just lift this back up again and you're all set. So hope you enjoy the video.